All right, welcome back to the channel. So, got another reaction video for you. Going to be taking a look at a couple YouTube videos, trying to sprinkle in some serious ones with some funny ones, or maybe some relationship advice with some just generic man type videos. So, let's get into it. All right, first up.
All you have to do is listen to women talk. They tell on
Oh,
themselves constantly.
Okay.
This
So this guy right here, I really like this guy's channel because he's a good blend of deep thinking with kind of like some sarcastic, witty, dry humor in there as well. But it's kind of like on the nose. So plus he draws everything out like graphs and stuff like that with like colored pencils and stuff. So props to him for that. So let's take a look at this. So the title of this one is called Make Sure.
Let me make it easier to read. This is more common than you think. My sister getting married in 2 days on the phone with her ex from 13 years ago just to make sure that she can't marry him instead.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. So this is definitely something that happens sometimes. I don't know if he's going to talk about it a little bit more in detail here, but like just looking at this picture, I'm sure he's going to get into, looks like a timeline here. But here's the deal. Like, this happens sometimes, and it's really unfortunate. Basically, what it boils down to is, let's say that there's a female. Let's say there's a woman, and she's like a 6, like a 6 out of 10 on the attractiveness scale, right? And then at some point, usually in her younger days, she's able to pull an 8 out of 10 man, right? But for a short time. Like maybe she thought it was more, but it really was just like maybe a fling, one night stand, that type of thing. But it warps her sense of where she is on the scale, right? So she's a 6 out of 10, but she thinks she's able to pull 8 out of 10s because she did it once. Maybe she even did it a couple times. So then let's say in this example, that 8 out of 10 ends up breaking it off with her saying, hey, like, no, or whatever. And then she goes out and years later, she meets this guy who looks like, wants to marry her. And maybe he's a 6 out of 10 as well. From there on out, she's going to feel like if she marries this 6 out of 10, she's settling. Because she's able in her mind to pull 8 out of 10s. Even though those 8 out of 10s really did not want anything past sex, essentially, as sad as that is. So then no matter what this guy does, if he's a 6 out of 10, she's always going to be thinking about that 8 out of 10 she pulled that one time. And it just eats away at relationships. So let's carry on.
I made this map for an old video. I'm going to expand on it soon. I'm basically going to explain why loose morals result in social and civil decay. So here's a preview. This girl calling her ex is not a new or a rare thing. This map was my response to a video about a guy who met a girl, fell in love, proposed to her after 3 years. She said no. He proposed again after 1 year. She said no again.
Okay. Wow. All right. So that is a crazy red flag, right? After 3 years, you really both should know if this is headed towards marriage or not. If marriage is your thing. If marriage is not your thing, after 3 years, you should know that marriage isn't their thing and therefore don't ask them to marry you. But I'm pretty sure she said no for a different reason. But regardless, at 3 years, he gets down on a knee and asks this woman to marry him, and she says no. After 3 years, I really don't think that there's a valid no that would keep anybody around. At that point, if you spent 3 years of your life with this woman, building some sort of life together, and you're like, hey, I want to do this symbolic thing, and they're like, no, peace out, move on. Definitely, if you waited a year and asked again, and she said no again, oh, man, brother, move on.
and he tried to break up with her, which she didn't want to do. Even her family pressured him to stay with her. This was confusing to him because if you don't want to accept the proposal, what are you waiting for?
Right.
And we never got an official answer, but I'm pretty sure that the answer is a different guy from her past who broke up with her a while ago, and she's waiting for him to come back and replace him, even though he's not planning on doing it.
Yeah. That's kind of like what I thought. It's so sad too, because like this guy probably doesn't even this guy from her past probably doesn't even think about her at all. Like she was just a blip on the radar to this guy. But he made such an impression that she's thinking about him 13 years later or whatever it is. Like it's insane. And I don't know if it's because like they got their feelings hurt, obviously, and so they're hoping that if they come back, the guy's going to be like, oh man, I'm so sorry. You were the best thing I ever had, and I really want you. And then that boosts their like self-esteem and kind of heals that wound or what. But it doesn't happen that way. He's not coming back.
Doing that. He's busy. So basically, loose morals are destructive because without social constraints that result in stable marriages, women tend to fall in love with men who consider them temporary. Notice the orange line, meaning that she's just a for now thing for him. And then when those same women find men who give them real love and support, they don't appreciate it because in her mind, she almost got married to this guy, even though he does not agree. So then even...
Yeah, exactly. In her mind, she almost had that 8. So if she settles for this guy, she'd be settling because he's only a 6.
Though this guy gives her all of this support and commitment, she is still holding out for better, even though better is never coming. And men who give this investment to women and are not appreciated for it, well, they tend to get pretty upset and then they stop doing it. And if men are not investing in society, it's not going to stay standing. So if we have free love, then women start thinking they can do better than they can, and then nobody likes each other. Because remember, this is most people. And when people get hurt enough, then they stop putting in effort and they become angry and selfish. And you cannot have a function.
Yeah. Okay. That's a perfect example. Okay. Think about this guy here. He just wasted 4 years of his life total trying to build a life with this woman who kind of was using him as a placeholder this whole time. Like a placeholder waiting for this original guy to come back when he's not coming back. So that guy that got rejected, that asked, her to marry him, he's never going to be the same. He's never going to be the same. He's never going to put that much effort into another relationship, probably ever again. If so, it will take way longer than 4 years before he even thinks about marrying the next one. Or vice versa. He's like, I really want to get married and I don't want to waste that much time. So by the 2-year mark, I'm asking. And if she says no, I'm out. Maybe he'll learn something from being burned.
Functioning society of angry, selfish people. So it turns into this. What can we do about this? First of all, be this guy if you can. Become the guy that she would leave someone for. Second of all, don't make her do that. Don't have these relationships with women. Stop ruining them. When you say to a girl, oh, babe, I just don't know where the wind is going to blow me at.
100% agree with him here. So be the 8, like he was saying on that scale, be an 8 out of 10. That could be a whole bunch of things. Like you try to level up yourself as much as possible because that's what we all should be doing anyways. Like I hit the gym, I run, I try to educate myself. I try to level up as much as I physically can, as much as I mentally can, to be higher up on that scale. I'm not an 8 out of 10, but I'm just saying it's a goal. This is important though, this part here, and this goes for men and goes for women. When you first start talking to somebody, if you have no intentions of having a relationship with that person, you need to say that right in the beginning. You need to be upfront and honest and say, hey, listen, I'm not looking for a relationship. If you want to have some adult fun, That's fine. But I do not want a relationship. If they say yes after that and you guys bump uglies, then it's all good. It's not your fault at that point if they get mad at you when you're like, I told you I don't want a relationship. The bullshit happens though when guys typically are not confident in getting women, so they feel like they got to be sneaky fucking weasels in order to get a woman to sleep with them. And then they say whatever they need to say to get it to happen, and then afterwards they're like, oh, I don't know, or they ghost them or whatever. That girl will never be the same, right? So we're talking about both sides getting hurt here. The guy in the example that asked the girl to marry him, he'll never be the same. And then a girl that has that 8 out of 10, sleep with her a couple times and then ditch her, she'll never be the same either. We all like carry these scars on our hearts, you know, until we die, basically.
I don't know where I'm going to be in 3 weeks. What they hear is I'm almost in the top category. I have a 90% chance of making it here. I just have to try a few more tricks.
Almost there,
That
baby.
is what they believe, even if you've never been seen with them in public. But of course, not every guy can make it here. So if you are in the majority, then what you need to do is vet your woman. Check on her past. See if there is a different guy she is waiting for. That is
okay. Yeah, I agree. You should always have tough conversations with somebody you're thinking about dating in the very beginning. You should absolutely ask about their past. Whether you ask specific body counts or not, that's up to you. Such a hot topic. But you definitely should know their dating past, and you should know, you know, their life history, like what's going on here. You know, maybe not the first date, but soon, you know, the sooner the better, to see if you're even compatible. The problem with this is she might tell you about this relationship and she might, you know, be open about dating this person, but there's no way in hell she's going to admit that she's still stuck on the guy. Like, oh yeah, so I dated this person and then that didn't work out. So 2 years later I dated this person, that didn't work out. But, you know, just so you know, I'm still really hung up on him, and if he came back today, I would leave you for him. That never happens. So you have to read between the lines, I guess. But again, if you spent 3 years with somebody, you know without a doubt if they're in it 100%. And if they're not in it 100%, there's reasons. And the reason is they're either waiting for somebody better or they know who's better and they're waiting for them to come back.
not good for you. This guy spent 4 years and God knows how many dollars trying to make her happy, and she was never gonna be happy with him because she was expecting
literally
the guy who's
nothing
not
you could
coming.
do.
So if she says to you, my past shouldn't matter, just gently remind her that her past might cause her to leave you at the altar, and that this matters to you a whole lot.
Of course it matters. Of course it matters. Like, there's no way that it wouldn't matter. In other words, like, there's no way that you could tell me somebody's past does not matter. That's the freaking dumbest thing I've ever heard. Past behavior is like one of the best predictors of future behavior or current behavior. So if somebody, for one thing, that's a super red flag. If somebody ever says to you like, oh, you know, my past doesn't matter, it's like, you're only saying that because you got a fucked up past. Somebody doesn't have a fucked up past, they're like, here's my past, this is what it is, like, this is it, you know? It's only the people that don't want to talk about it that have some friggin' skeletons in the closet. So yeah. All right, so this says, video, Alaska man attacked by brown bear captures moments after incident on video. Dang. All right, so this guy, well, he's still alive, so he's got to be a badass. All right, let's go.
Okay, well, as you can see, we have a brown bear here. We were hiking through some pretty thick grass here.
Jesus.
We startled her, or him, I'm not sure.
That's insane. Like, so I live in an area, we have black bear and we have moose. Black bear are no problem. They smell you, they're gone. Moose are dumb. Moose are big. They're honestly more dangerous in this area than black bears. But I can't imagine doing the things I like to do, you know, hunting, fishing, camping, hiking, when there's black bears on the landscape, it literally terrifies me. I won't say it's a phobia, but like it's up there for sure. So yeah, this dude's just going through this, you know, high grass and then just gets jumped by a freaking bear.
And it came charging at my dad. He made some noise.
Got his dad with him too.
It went to you.
And then it went straight to me. And thankfully, when I was falling backwards, I was able to unsheath my pistol. And when he was on top of me, absolutely unload like a...
Dude, this guy's a badass. All right, so not only he's just like walking, you know, through the, I want to say woods, but it's clearly not woods. He's just walking through this high grass. Boom. This bear jumps him. Bear is on top of, charges him, knocks him down. And as he's falling back, he has like the mental composure and wherewithal to pull out his pistol and empty it into this bear. Now, whether he had like his pistol on a chest rig or a leg or whatever, like the amount of adrenaline that happens when something pops off like this, for him to even think clear enough to get it out of the holster and shoot this bear is crazy. Like, this dude's a badass.
on top of this guy.
So did
So did my father. I'm not sure. I did shoot myself in the leg when I was falling backwards. Right here. But it went...
Oh my God. Hey, like, I don't blame this guy at all. This is the shit that happens. Like, he's getting mauled by a bear, and I'm assuming like his legs are up in the air, and he ends up shooting himself. It looks like it maybe bounced off the bone or just grazed, like barely shot himself. But still, like, that's freaking crazy. Props to him. I'm surprised he's just so calm. The camera's not even shaking while he's telling this story, sitting next to this dead bear, got a hole in his leg. He's probably got bit. Like, God, the composure on this guy. Now, I will say, cameras nowadays, phones nowadays, they have some really awesome image stabilization. But even if that was me and I'm holding my camera, it'd be like, I got, you know, like, this guy's freaking a savage.
straight through my leg. I'm not sure if, again, I shot myself when I was falling backwards or the bear got me. I know he did bite into me. I think I felt that, but I'm not.
Look at all the
100%
tourniquets
sure.
they have. That's prepared.
We got an SOS out. Hopefully they're asking what the issue is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my heart rate a little bit slower right now.
Take your time, brother. So they have an SOS out. So when I go out into the woods, I have this thing called a Garmin InReach Mini. I think it's the Mini 1. I don't think it's the Mini 2. But the peace of mind that it brings me, knowing that all I have to do is just get that thing, hold the SOS button down, and that emergency signal goes to Garmin, and Garmin is then kicks into action, and they are immediately coordinating with search and rescue that's like the closest to wherever I am in this situation. Now on my phone, there's something where I can talk through the satellite, like I can message through satellite and probably SOS through satellite, but that thing's finicky as hell. Like, I have to sit there and absolutely clear sky, and I have to point it directly at the satellite, and it takes some time. I like the Garmin because it's just like kind of like pulling the pin on a grenade. I'm just like, and I know that they're coming. So I don't know what he has, but that's what he's talking about with an SOS.
It's a beautiful day.
I said, we need a helicopter, got good landing zone.
Looks like a phone.
Yeah.
So he's doing it that way.
That tourniquet is tight as
I heard tourniquets hurt a lot when they're on you. When they're on you the proper way.
Hey.
His dad looks stressed. I don't blame him. I'd be freaking stressed too.
Shall I elevate my leg?
Both your legs.
God. Dude, this guy's a savage.
That one's good. That one's fine.
He's like, don't touch my bullet leg.
Kind of sitting on my water. Update.
Get the out of here!
What?
Papa Bear's here.
Oh my
We got military.
Are they literally fighting off more bears? The dad was just screaming at a bear, and then he says, Papa Bear's here. So, okay. Holy shit. Like, you get mauled by a bear. I'm sure you have bite marks on you. You shot yourself in the leg. The dead bear is literally laying next to you. You got tourniquets on, I think both of his legs, waiting for a helicopter. And a fucking bear is still trying to eat you. Holy shit. Good thing his dad is here. I mean, this dude's a badass, but I don't know if he can fight off 2 bears. That's crazy.
Helicopter coming to pick us up. Some PJs.
RCC.
RCC.
Rescue Coordinating Center out of Anchorage.
Right on.
So, they're coming.
Yeah, he's shooken up, but man, he is holding it together.
Sorry to freak you out, Lacey.
That's why.
I'll be fine.
That's why. He was thinking about either his girlfriend, some relative
Lucky.
in his life.
I'm lucky.
Let's see.
Isn't that crazy? This is really interesting. Interesting fact. Isn't it crazy how men can be in a situation where they are dying or almost died, and the thing that gets them emotional is thinking about a loved one that they're going to let down. Literally, they're the one dying, and they are thinking about a completely different person, just about how much they're going to be upset. Like, holy shit, sorry for inconveniencing you, but I had to die. Like, it's like the most Canadian thing ever. Sorry, I had to die.
That tourniquet hurts.
My walking stick is not very cool. Unless I'm throwing it down when it's there.
Keep that heart rate down.
Get something to flash,
It's crazy.
Mark.
Phone? Can you use your phone as a...
Yeah, that's for sure too.
Yeah.
Man, he came out quick.
Literally still yelling at other bears. It's crazy.
So fast. And I'll tell you what, I am so happy I had a 10 millimeter.
10 millimeter.
And my dad also had a 40.
10 millimeter 40. Okay, so this is one thing that, like, this happens a lot. There's always like this argument around like caliber, whether it's like hunting or it's self-defense or anything like that. Any activity based around something that doesn't happen every single day to most people gets people just like keyboard warrior, theory crafting, like, you'll never kill a bear unless you have a bazooka. I carry 3 bazookas when I go out. It's like, okay. It's the same thing in martial arts before the UFC. Since most people aren't going out and having a fight every single day, they don't have anything to back their personal theories up. They have 0 evidence to draw on, but that does not stop them from having an opinion. So, I carry a 10 millimeter. I have a 9 millimeter, but a 10 millimeter when I'm out in the woods, and you'd still hear people saying, I would do this, and I would never go out with a 10 millimeter. I would only go out with a friggin' RPG. But then you ask them, okay, well, how many bears have you shot, like in self-defense? Well, 0. For most people, I'm sure there's some people out there that actually had to do it. And I value their evidence that they're putting forth or their opinion. Everybody else, it's just an opinion. This dude got charged by a grizzly and killed it with a 10 millimeter. I think his dad had a 40. I don't know if his dad shot too, but still, like, he got it done.
When I pumped him, I felt him like die on top of me and roll over.
I mean,
that was insane. It's like
I
Gimli
pumped a
in the
few too,
wars.
and they rolled over, but they didn't die afterwards.
Oh my god, that hurts. Okay. Hey, later.
Keep everything, keep pressure on that.
I'm doing good.
Look at that freaking thing.
This one still hasn't
That's wild.
gone out because it cycles. So
Okay.
we
My leg is starting to hurt a bit. Maybe the adrenaline's going down.
Yeah, probably.
Rightly so.
Jesus.
But it might just be my leg going numb. I'm not sure.
I bet that tourniquet's just throbbing. Womp,
Yeah.
womp, womp.
Hopefully I got lucky and just shot myself in the thigh or quad. And went,
You know, it's a shitty day when you're like, maybe I just got lucky and shot myself in the leg.
it's all right, man. We're good. You know, that's why we do these things, right? We train for this.
Yeah.
came through here. I heard it.
I mean,
Do
I
we?
started yelling at it. It turned from me. Tyler was getting his gun out. It went at him. Bowled him over as he was shooting. I ran over and shot it several more times in the head.
Yep, that is true.
I don't think they'll ever they'll ever be able to figure this out. But imagine if the dad's the one that shot him in the leg. I still would be thankful. I'd be like, "Thanks, Dad. Like, I appreciate it because like the bear could have been eating my inside. So yes, I'll take a bullet to the leg, but that would be kind of funny. It'd be like ironic, right? He'd probably be like, "This is payback for all the times you didn't clean your room when you were younger."
Yeah, that was the hardest tackle I ever took.
I don't know how big that bear is, but big enough, that's for
Bear
sure.
was right within 3 feet.
Yeah, just laying next to that thing. God dang.
there.
Look at that thing.
Well, do we always have to make a hunting trip so epic?
That's crazy.
Come on, Hilo. Say you got one on the way. Come on, guys. My message did go out. They got it. I haven't referred
So they're waiting
back.
for a
They said
helicopter
they
now is what it
passed
sounds
on.
like.
Elk actually did Glenn too.
Which, not sure how far away the helicopter is, but it's not instant, that's for sure.
I said, son's injured, need helicopter.
Man.
Albert, come on.
I bet this is pretty intense.
We're good.
But it's a pretty intense situation, especially when there's other bears in the area that they're like keeping their head on a swivel. Like, that's insane. Like, that's crazy. But what I will say, and this, I think this is a pretty important thing, is like, yeah, they went out there and they got after it. They had an adventure, and obviously he got injured, and things could have gotten a lot worse, right? They could have gone horrible. But one thing I realized several years ago, so I was doing one of my last clinical rotations for physical therapy when I did it in a nursing home, right? So I was talking to a lot of people that were like at the end of their life cycle. They're almost like in the waiting room, you know, waiting for what's next. And I would go around and I would ask people what they did for fun, either what they did do or what they do. Most people don't do anything when they're 90 and in a nursing home, but I would ask them like what they did for fun when they were younger. And there was sort of two types of people. There was like person A, and then there was like person B. Person A would tell me, I didn't really do anything, you know, with my life. I basically was a couch potato. Okay. Then there's person B, who was like a hellraiser. They're like, oh yeah, I was like skydiving, horseback riding, rodeo, like just crazy, right? But in the end, they both ended up in the same place, and they both needed physical therapy for like pain and injuries that they accumulated along the way. So if one person didn't do anything with their life physical, and the other person had a crazy amount of memories and experiences, if you end up in the same place, regardless, I say get out there and use it up. We don't take these bodies with us. Right? They stay behind. So when I die and I get to that point, like I want to cross that finish line and have nothing left in this body. No regrets, right? No regrets. Get out there and make memories, 100%. So this is by a creator named Emily, and I almost always agree with her takes. So this is going to be a pretty interesting one. So 5 things women can't handle, but men can. 5 things that women can't handle, but men can. I would say probably one of them has to be rejection, because I feel like as a man, we're getting like literally rejected all the time. Like no matter what we're doing, you know, in a lot of our jobs, there's rejection. Even like you're a contractor, you're putting bids in, your bid doesn't get accepted. That's rejection. Walking up to women, rejection. Dating apps, rejection. All that stuff. So, anyways, let's see what she says.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are talking about 5 things that women cannot handle, but men can. I think that most of you are going to agree with these, but either way, leave a comment, let me know. Okay, let's get right into it. These are not in any particular order.
Number one,
rejection. Women cannot handle.
Oh my God. Oh, shocker.
Rejection like men can. But if you think about it, men are trained from a young age to handle rejection because it really falls on them to approach women and ask them out on dates. Women
100%.
do not experience this like at all, especially when they're young, because they're the ones that are getting approached. They don't need to do that. It's because that's when they're most desired. So for women, it's just what they live. They get approached and they're asked out on dates, so they become accustomed to being the one to pick, essentially.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting. So, okay, so just picture this. So you're like, say you're like in 8th grade, right? And you want to ask that one girl to the dance. You don't just randomly go up. No, you stew about it for like a week, laying in bed at night, thinking how you should ask her, when's the perfect time, what should you say, what should you wear that day, all that stuff. You finally get the courage, timing's right. You walk up to her, and you ask, hey, do you want to go to the dance with me? And then all she has to say is, no. Like, that was nothing to her, just a little blip. But for you, that was a week of planning and thinking and stressing. So, yeah, guys, we have to deal with some rejection fairly early on. And the other interesting aspect of this when it comes to like what she was saying, where like women just basically have to pick, right? So I don't know if they necessarily like think about this in this way or realize this, but like men, we get rejected all the time. And women are the ones doing the rejection, but they're also the ones doing like the picking. Right. So in their mind, they're thinking someone gets picked 100% of the time, because if they always pick somebody, that's all they know. They're like, this person approached me, I picked them. It must be the other way around, because they don't live that other life of the other side of the coin, where they're the ones having to approach and get shot down 4 times before the 5th one works. So I think when you flip it around, they think guys have it just as good. They think all they got to do is walk up and ask somebody out and they're going to say yes. No, most of the time they do not.
Who they say yes to. But I will say time and time again, even if she is attracted to a man, a woman will most likely not approach, like 90% of the time.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of missed opportunity, because I always say that women would be successful 99% of the time if they just approached. But time and time again, women do not believe this from me when I say this.
Yeah.
And I realized recently that it is because their 99% in what they consider successful is not the same as men. This is because men, and in my brain, if a woman says, sorry, no thank you, I have a boyfriend, that is not rejection. That is just circumstance. But women don't think the same. So if they approach a guy,
I have to disagree with that part there, because a lot of times the whole I'm sorry, I have a boyfriend, it absolutely might be true sometimes. But there's also sometimes when that really is just a nice way of basically saying, I'm sorry, I do not find you attractive. I don't like your shirt and your breath smells. but you wrap that all up into something that's a way more presentable package and way softer and say, sorry, I have a boyfriend, as a way of gently letting the man down, because the man's like, oh, okay, well, maybe I had a shot if she wasn't already taken. But I think smart men kind of know that it's rejection too, and sadly, sometimes having a boyfriend or having a girlfriend doesn't stop somebody from getting somebody's number, unfortunately.
And he does the no thank you or sorry, I have a girlfriend. She counts that as rejection. And to feel that rejection, women just cannot handle it. For example, I just watched a video the other day of a man very kindly and gently letting a woman down because he has a girlfriend. I did a stitch of the video. It's actually on my YouTube shorts if you guys missed it.
Go check it out.
But the guy's on a motorcycle. This man very kindly and gently let the woman down because he has a girlfriend. But
Valid.
This woman did not want that reason to stop him. She offered her number.
Oh, okay. I don't know where this is going, but I do know. So I think the difference is when a guy says, I'm sorry, I have a girlfriend, the girl asking for the number immediately gets into a competition with this girl she doesn't even know. In her mind, she's like, oh, you think she's prettier than me? And she takes it like as a direct insult. And then what happens a lot of times is they either get real angry and they flip it around and they're like, you know what? I didn't want your number anyways. It's like, okay, sure. Either that or they start questioning your sexuality. What are you, gay? What are you, gay? You don't want this? And then lastly, if they get really hostile, they're like, I bet you have a small dick. It's like, oh, okay. Whatever.
She said that his girlfriend didn't need to know about it.
Jesus.
And when he stood firm on his no,
good for you, man.
She was so offended that she questioned him. She asked him if he thought that she wasn't pretty and what was his problem. And then when that didn't work, she tried to reject him back by saying at the end that she actually didn't want to give him her number anyways.
It's like clockwork. It's like a playbook.
Crazy, but
I'm going to go with
that video is just another example of how a woman's ego just cannot handle rejection from a man. Number 2, women cannot handle putting in more effort than a man, especially in the early dating stages.
Okay.
I think this would feel like a slow death to most women. And I think this is because women equate his level of effort to her own level of worth, which means that she doesn't feel valuable when a man is not planning dates, paying for dates, and initiating phone calls and text messages. Now, I don't think that any man wants to or expects a woman to put in more effort than him when starting to date, especially. But he does want to see some amount of reciprocation as an...
Yeah. We're just looking for equal effort, right? Because I know like a lot of times either society thinks this or women think this, but like they always say like they're the prize, right? And sure, but at the same time, there's only so many hours in a day and there's only so much time in a week, etc. So as a man, my time is valuable. I have things to do. I have responsibilities, and also I have things I want to do for myself. So I don't want to be wasting time on a female when she's not interested and she's just like harvesting my attention. So when you message somebody first a couple times in a row, you're looking for them to message you first, maybe like the next day. And it's like, okay, all right, you are interested too. If you're just messaging, it's one-sided, you're getting hardly anything back in terms of like conversation, then you got to stop, because they're basically just like, they're honestly just harvesting you for attention.
Indication that she's actually interested in him. Women, unfortunately, they just don't feel the same, because he could be putting in effort, but if it's less than her, she believes leaving is the best thing because she knows her worth. Men
Everybody
would
should know their
never get a
worth.
girlfriend if they couldn't handle putting in more effort than a woman. Think
Oh,
about it,
yeah.
guys. Think of the line, if he wanted to, he would. It's all about a man putting in way more effort than her. And there's never a saying
Facts.
of like for women to put in effort that's kind of equal to that.
Yep.
But
Yep.
let's face it, men would never get a girlfriend if they couldn't handle putting in more effort than.
Yeah, pretty much. Because it takes a little while, it takes a certain amount of effort to even sort of trigger their effort response, right? Like how many times as a guy, like how many times have you messaged a girl or tried to start a conversation with a girl a couple times before they even really responded back or responded back with enough effort to have a conversation with, right? This is not what you should say, but if you're like, oh, beautiful day, huh? And they're just like, yep, that's it. What do you have to work off of, you know? Or when you message them something and they just respond back with an emoji. I can't work with an emoji, you know? So you have to almost like break through that barrier, and that takes effort before they even start to reciprocate any form of effort, let alone the same amount of effort. So yeah, we probably wouldn't ever have girlfriends.
Than a woman. It's just how the balance goes. And I'm not saying that one way is better than the other. I'm just saying that it's a pretty clear example and pretty clear proof that women cannot handle putting in that level of effort like men are expected to time and time again. Number 3, this one's going to hit hard. It's the lack of attention. Women not only like attention, but I think they actually need attention. Whether they are born needing this or if it's a learned behavior, I'm not sure. But there are plenty.
I'm not sure, but there's definitely women out there that I don't care how much attention one man gives them, it's never enough. Never enough attention. One man's attention will never be enough for certain women out there. And for those women, that is a huge red flag. You don't want to be in a relationship with that woman, because no matter how much you put in and how much attention you give them, it'll never be enough. It'll literally never be enough. They'll always wonder, I want attention from that guy. I wonder if I can get that guy. And then they go attention seeking, looking for that validation. Next thing you know, she's getting messages from guys and she's entertaining those messages because she likes the attention that they're giving her. It's such a recipe for disaster. I've dated a couple of women like that. So speaking from experience.
Plenty of examples from women posting revealing pictures on social media to getting free drinks from men when they go out to having multiple men in her friend zone. All of these situations, plus many more, are to fill their need for attention. Whereas men, they don't need it because, I don't know, they don't get it. Most men actually feel pretty invisible to women,
100%.
which is exactly
100%. I don't remember the last time that I got a random compliment from a female that I didn't know, right? I think most guys go through life like that. Like your mom will tell you you're handsome, and your significant other will tell you you're handsome if you have the right significant other. A lot of times that stops after a while too. And it's like, okay, well, I want to know that I look good once in a while. I want to know that I smell good. I want to know that I'm wearing a nice shirt once in a while. I mean, think about how many times a girl gets complimented by women about like her outfit. Like, oh my God, girl, that outfit looks so good. What you did with your hair, whatever. And then on top of that, they have attention from men wanting to date them because they look attractive in this outfit. Now, some will say that they don't want that attention. I think that they don't want that attention from guys that they deem unattractive, right? If a dude in a suit, super handsome, tall, whatever, beard, yada, yada, yeah, nice fitted tailor suit, stepped out of a Lamborghini and says, you know, I really like your outfit. You're looking very attractive or whatever, something respectful, I guarantee you they're not going to be upset at that attention, right? No, it's when it's from somebody that they deem less than them. Like, ew, how dare you even think you have a chance with me? And then that becomes creepy, right? And they don't want that attention. But guys, we get nothing. Zero.
Why men don't do those things that women do. Number 4, women cannot handle a power dynamic that does not favor them within the relationship. Women like being put on the pedestal as a way to guarantee their control within the relationship.
Okay.
For many, many women, this is actually because she's pretty insecure and she thinks that this is a way to kind of secure the relationship because, well, if she's better than a man in a relationship, then he won't leave or do anything to hurt her because, you know, he doesn't want to risk losing the best thing that he has.
I think I know what she's saying, but I have an example of this. Like, and maybe you have not known people like this in your life, but I've known a couple people like this in my life where, like, say a woman is, I'm just going to throw out a number, like, say she's a 7 out of 10. She will consistently date men that are like a 5 out of 10, like just a couple notches below her. And it has something to do with, like, knowing that he's not going to find a woman more attractive than her because she's that much more attractive than him. So she knows, like, he typically will not be able to pull 7 out of 10s. And if she's a 7 out of 10, then she feels like a catch for him. And he probably treats her like she is a catch, right? So it works out that way. But after a while, you're like, oh, like, this is your type, I guess. You like ugly dudes. And then you're, what's going on there? Well, you want that power dynamic where you basically have a golden retriever of a spouse or a boyfriend because they'll do whatever they possibly can to not lose you. And that is a really unhealthy power dynamic.
I see this dynamic all the time in couples on social media where a woman gets treated as the princess, where her husband is always doing 1,000 things for her. Women watching these videos just eat it up.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's doing everything, but she's never doing anything back for him.
She's the prize.
I see the
Why would
videos
she?
On social media where the wife is controlling
He's a 4 out of
her
10. She
husband to
literally
the point
has to
at
do
which
nothing.
he never sees his friends or no longer has hobbies that she doesn't approve of.
I did a video on that.
This is
Men need hobbies.
obviously unhealthy because
check it out on the YouTube channel.
A much better way to feel secure in a relationship is to have shared values of trust and loyalty. But it is rare to find a woman that is confident enough to not need that power dynamic.
Yep.
I think I saved the best one for last. Number 5, women cannot handle getting replaced by someone better than her after a breakup. This is even when that man is obviously in a much better relationship with somebody else and he is thriving. Yeah. That woman has to find a way to position herself as better.
Yeah.
Most women will not admit that her ex is better with someone else.
Sure.
Instead of.
Sure. So my personal philosophy has always been, when I break up with somebody, I have nothing to do with them. No contact. Even if especially if it was a bad breakup, you know, like they did something to me, like they cheated on me or whatever. But even a mutual breakup, it's like, okay, hey, like we gave it a shot. It doesn't work. You'll be part of my past, obviously, but you're not going to be part of my present. You're definitely not going to be part of my future. So I unfollow them on all social medias. I don't want to see their posts. I don't want to interact with them anymore. That chapter is done. It's closed. So I never see the other person like struggling with how I'm doing, you know. Maybe they are, maybe they're not, but I'll tell you, I definitely upgrade every time. So
Of her, she will say that he messed up the best thing he ever had. But the truth is, the truth that a lot of men will absolutely admit to after he's broken up with a woman, it's that it's not about who's better. it's more about the match.
Sure.
Not everyone is going to be good for everyone and anyone.
Absolutely.
And men just seem to have a much better understanding of this than women. That's
Yep.
it, guys. That's the total 5. If you agree or disagree
Nice.
with any of these, I'm very interested to know it in the comments. Also, any ideas that you have that you want me to do
Go
a
check
video
out Emily's
on,
channel.
please let me know.
She's awesome.
And you might see it next week. I'll see you guys later.
I always agree mostly with Emily's videos. She's definitely worth a watch, worth a follow. Thank you so much for watching. Again, my name is Seth. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Head over to the YouTube channel if you're on Kick. And if you're on YouTube watching this, head over to Kick and subscribe to me there, because this is where I stream these reaction videos live. So you can check that out. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.